What is up, guys? Fear the Beast here. And first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for subscribing to the channel. I want to thank Solo Yacker / Armed Fisherman for mirroring my part 1 video of the interaction here. It happened last year in November. I hadn't put it up because my PC was taken apart that I use for editing, so I didn't do anything with that because I couldn't. I didn't have my editing and all that. So it sat for a while until I got my PC put together. So that I want to thank them for that. I want to thank San Joaquin Valley, Transparency. He mirrored my video part 1 and part 2. Blew up my channel even more. I appreciate it so much, guys. That's pretty awesome. I never would have thought I'd be at 600 subscribers. I thought I started YouTube as mainly just a hobby. So, and I still don't plan to make money because, you know, gun stuff gets demonetized, so, meh. But I just wanted to do it to educate people further than I could reach in just person-to-person interaction. I want to be able to reach on a broader scale. So, I want to thank both Solo Yacker and San Joaquin for that. But anyways, today is story time. I wanted to talk about a event that happened in my past with the police interaction that I didn't get on film. This was before I started YouTube with the police. Well, I had a YouTube, but I didn't use it for police interactions or anything like that. So basically, I was jogging, and I was wearing ACU camo pants that I still have somewhere. I don't wear them much anymore. I had my tan boots on. I had a t-shirt that I had when I was in ROTC in high school. It was a Raider team t-shirt, so I went with the ACU camo because that's what they wear. And I had a face mask on, which back then was not a good thing. Now everybody wears them. So in your face, cops, because everyone wears masks. But back then wasn't a good thing unless you were doing certain things. In my perception of the law, because the law is very vague on face masks, it's like, oh, you can't wear a mask. The law back then was you weren't allowed to wear a mask except for certain situations, like riding a motorcycle, like doctors wearing masks like that, you know, stuff like that, or Halloween, obviously, like you wear masks to go with your costume. There were like certain exceptions. Well, there was exceptions to like cold weather, and certain conditions. So it wasn't necessarily cold out when this happened, but I wore the mask because I would run along the highway. And when I wasn't wearing the mask, I had gotten a couple times where people were driving by and I get some of the fumes from the car. And so I was wearing one of the face masks as I ran along alongside the highway, and I would take it off as soon as I got anywhere else. It's because I didn't want to get the gas fumes. I wanted to, you know, it filter some of them out. So I wore this mask and these clothes, and I was out jogging, exercising. And my girlfriend at the time worked at the mall. She worked at a store in the mall. I'm not going to say too many names because I don't have permission to say where she worked. So, but she worked at the mall. And when I was out jogging, I texted her because I knew she was going to get out soon, and she didn't have a car at the time and whatnot. And I was like, basically she wasn't. It was a close walk to her house. So I figured I'll meet you there, walk you home. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I forgot my key. And I had a spare key for emergencies in case, you know, I needed to. So I had a spare key. And I was like, well, I'll walk you home and I got a key. And she's like, okay. So I was on the way there and she's like, actually, I'm getting a ride from my coworker. So I said, okay, well, you still need the key? I'll meet you there. I'll give you the key and I'll go back to jogging. She's like, okay. And this was all in text. And so we get to, I get to the mall. I ran all the way there. I cut through the bank. There's like a bank parking lot in front of the mall where there's a sidewalk. So I cut through the sidewalk and then into the mall parking lot. And then I have to go around the backside where all the employees leave the mall. So out the back doors. So I was just hanging out back there. I've done it, waiting on her to walk her home a dozen times. Nothing ever happened, but this time I was jogging and stuff like that in circumstances, which was weird. So I'm sitting there. And I forgot, I left a key piece out here. I had a single strap sling bag. A police officer shows up and he shines a spotlight on me. And before then I had been approached by cops all the time. I used to run with a plate carrier on. They would come up, hey, are you training? What are you doing? Just kind of check in here or there, and then they drive off. Most of the time they would just roll their window down and say, what are you doing? And I'd answer and they'd leave. This time, cop rolls up. He pointed his spotlight on me. I'm kind of like, okay, what's this about? He gets out of the car and he just simply asks me, hey, did you see somebody running? And I said, well, I was running. Like, I'm exercising. I just thought it was casual. I was running. This guy, I shit you not, pulls his gun out, points it at me, and yells at me to get the fuck on the ground. I was like, okay. And I didn't take my bag off, nothing. I'm in panic mode. This has never happened before. I just put my hands straight up, laid flat on the ground, and I was like, I had 2 knives on me. I just yelled out. I was like, hey, I have 2 knives in my back pockets, just letting you know. I wanted to let him know so, he didn't go over and deal with me or something and find knives and I don't know. My thought process was like, hey, let him know you have knives. So I let him know I had knives. So I let him know I had knives, and I was on the ground laying there, and I was like, I have knives on me. He said, all right, that's fine. Don't fucking move. I'm like, okay, I'm not moving. I'm just sitting here. Everything's still on me, whatever. And I was like, just don't shoot me, all right? Just don't shoot me, okay? And he's like, I'm not gonna shoot you. If anything, I'll let the dog eat you. And he was really aggressive. And I'm like, okay. And he has his dog. It was a canine unit. He had the window cracked for the dog, and you could hear the dog barking and shit. But I don't think he was gonna let him out. It was all fine. I just laid there, didn't move, didn't nothing. And after, like, it felt like a lifetime, but it was like 10 seconds probably. Like 4 cops showed up, two sheriffs and another West Mel and shit, and they were just right there. I'm like, holy crap. And they come over, they didn't cut my bag, thankfully, because I like that bag. They just undid the strap and like pulled it off me and stuff. And again, while they were on me, I said, hey, there's 2 knives in my back pockets if you want to take them off me. And they were like, okay. They took them out of my back pockets, put them over with the bag, handcuffed me, sat me up, everything. So I asked, all right, so wait, I was like, so what's going on? And they're like, we'll get with you in a minute. And I'm like, okay. So I sat there and I waited for a little bit, and then I asked over to another officer. I was like, hey, what's going on? They're like, we'll get with you in a minute. I'm like, okay. So I sat there for a while longer, and then a female officer, sheriff deputy, she was standing there, and I said, hey, can you please tell me what's going on? Like, why am I being detained? Like, what exactly happened? And she's like, well, I don't know. This is West Melbourne's call. So I said, okay. And I waited for a minute, and then when a West Melbourne officer came over, and this guy, by the way, you'll hear more about him in a minute. This guy's a fucking prick. So pardon my French. He is. I yelled, he was walking by, and I said, hey, can you please explain to me what's going on? Like, why am I being detained? I was just jogging. And he goes, shut the fuck up. We'll get with you in a fucking minute. It was his exact words. And after that point, I said, okay, these guys are just not going to tell me shit. So I just sat there. I waited for a while. Finally, after, checking everything, calling his shit in, whatever. And mind you, while this is happening, I counted 15 cars that I could see. There might have been more, but 15 cars that I could see showed up. Unmarked canines. There was a one guy stepped out of an SUV who had his plate carrier and his helmet on. And I was like, what is a SWAT guy doing here? Like, what the fuck what happened? Who do they think I am? So, while I'm sitting there, eventually one of the officers comes over, and it was the first officer, the one that pulled his gun first, the first one that came up and asked, did you see somebody running? So he talked to me and said, hey, what are you doing out here? I said, well, I was jogging, my girlfriend's getting out of work, I was going to walk her home, but then she got a ride, but she forgot a key, and I have a spare key, so I was going to give her a key. And immediately, we're just going to call him Prick. Prick came back over and said, oh, what are you waiting for your fucking girlfriend for? Are you having a problem? I said, no, as I was saying, I'm waiting for her to give her a key because give her my key because she forgot hers. while I was out jogging. And he just kind of shut up and walked away. He didn't say anything after that. And the other officer went back to talking to me. I told him everything. I told him, like, I was texting her back and forth, and I was going to walk her, but then she got a ride, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you have, text evidence to prove this? And I'm like, yeah, my phone's in my pocket. It should, the bubble, it was a Facebook bubble, I was like, well, the bubble's still up, whatever, just go in my phone. And I told him how to unlock it, whatever. And he went in, checked it, and he was like, oh, okay. And he went around my back and started uncuffing me, and I'm like, that is it? Like, what was this about? And they wouldn't really talk to me about it. And then one of the officers came over, Brick came back. He comes over and he goes, there was 3 separate things he said. I might say them out of order, but I believe the first thing he said was, what was it? He was, oh, what are you wearing a mask for? That was it. He said, what are you wearing a mask for? And I told him that I was running along the highway, gas fumes, all that, and I take it off when I go off the highway, anywhere else, including the park. As soon as I stepped off the highway into the bank parking lot to get through that sidewalk, I pulled the mask down. And when I stopped running, when I got into the back area, I took it all the way off. It was off of me. So I told him that. Then he immediately follows up with, well, what are you doing behind the mall after these hours? Like, it's kind of suspicious. I just jokingly laughed it off and said, well, there's a ton of people out here with vans and trucks and cars. I mean, they could kidnap people. What am I going to do? Throw a girl over my shoulder and run off? Like, and I just laughed it off. And he kind of got a little more grumpy on his face looking. And he said, well, what are you wearing all camo for and stuff? Like, what do you think people are going to think? And I said, well, there's a recruiting office in the mall. Maybe they think maybe they'll think I was training to be in the Marines, which at the time I was training to be in the Marines. And he just kind of grunted, like, ugh, and walked away. And during all the confusion, I was still in handcuffs at the time, or whatever, when I told him what was going on. My girlfriend came out. She was like, what the fuck? And they went to talk to her, and she's like, yeah, he's not a problem. Like, what the fuck? They never told me what happened. When I talked to my girlfriend after, they were talking to her about what happened. And there were 3 different things. Now, this is cop-splaining 101. 3 different things. One officer told her that they had a warrant for my arrest. Bullshit. Bold-faced lie. 2, they told her that I looked like a person that they had a warrant for. Neither here nor there. Maybe, whatever. The third one, which was the general consensus from multiple officers, was that there was a Burger King along my route that I was running. Some guy had approached one of the workers there, whatever, with a knife and stole his backpack and ran off. And it was a black backpack. So I assume that that's what they think I stole, because I had a black backpack, and they thought maybe I stole it or something, or I don't know. But even then, like, it's kind of ridiculous that they had to show up in such force with like 15 officers and guns and this, that, and the other, or whatever, for like, even for a knife. Like, there was a lot of officers there. But I mean, again, that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to tell them how to do their jobs, but I just kind of think it was a little excessive. And also, I think also, like, looking at a lot of police protocols and stuff, I think that the officer that was like, get the fuck on the ground, pulled his gun immediately and shit, I think he put himself in a bad situation, kind of. I think because he had told me later that he had been going down the mall and asking people, hey, have you seen somebody running? And they went, yeah, this way, yeah, that way, yeah, this way. Meaning me. He didn't know that they meant me. He thought it was the person they were looking for. And so when he drove up and just saw some guy standing there, not wearing a mask, whatever, and I had my back away, and my bag was on me, so I turned away and stuff like that. I don't think he saw me. I think that he was in the mode of, oh, there's another witness. Hey, did you see somebody running? And as soon as I was like, well, I am, he went, oh, and he didn't think maybe I could be a different person running. He just got mixed up. He went, oh, this is the guy we're after. He's dangerous. And 9 times out of 10, when cops are after somebody that's dangerous, that they know is dangerous, they will follow them closely or whatever, and wait for backup. They won't really approach them without backup. So as soon as they know the person they're looking for is dangerous, so they're not gonna just go up and check, alone. So as soon as he realized he was in a situation where he was alone and he didn't realize that I might be the person who was dangerous, it was, oh shit, get the fuck on the ground right now, immediate. I'm in a bad situation. I didn't think this was the guy. I need backup now, kind of thing. So I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here, but holy crap, that's why I got into cameras and stuff like that for police interactions, and then I discovered solo yakker, and I discovered all that, and I was like, oh, and I've always been a gun guy. I didn't know you could open carry fishing until I saw Solo Yakker's channel, so I started doing that, which was awesome, so more rights I can express. And I ran into the one guy one more time, which was a whole another incident about a bicycle. It was just something stupid, and I walked away with like no problem. They just stopped me and was like, what are you doing? I'm like riding a bike, and they're like, we have to have lights because it's like after dark, which they were wrong because I was on the sidewalk and you don't necessarily have to have them on the sidewalk and all this other crap. But I ended up putting lights on it anyway, so who cares? That's a no problem thing. Okay, I'll put lights on it. They're $15 at Walmart, But yeah, I ran into that one guy one more time. He wasn't that much of an issue, and it was all fine. But yeah, that's my story about how I got swatted at the mall. So, again, thank you guys so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. Please hit that like and that subscribe button if you're not already. I know I sound like every other YouTuber. Hit that like and that subscribe. But please do. It helps out a lot. And once I get partnered, maybe I can start making money, which can go right back into the channel. Who knows if the YouTube gods allow. So, you guys have a fantastic day. This is Fear the Beast. Out.